I'm talking about the interlude. This is like a kind of a break in the middle of a book, an intermission almost for it. He talks about this idea he has of one story, and so he kind of gets to the point of where there's only he kind of believes there's only one story, and that's really he can't boil it down to what that story is, but it's either us and the world, or how authors explain, or us and the world, or us in the world. And that's what writers write about. And he's like, and he doesn't even think that some writers know that they do it, but he argues that um, even since Greek time are still retellings of past stories and myths. We just don't have evidence of those stories, even if they were pictorial or auditory. And so contemporary writers just retell stories. And that's why you have his two main evidences are intertextuality and archetypes. And intertextuality, like if you try to create a new work of something, it's always going to have references to the old stuff that you've already seen. Because if you're going to make a good and evil comic, or a good and evil story, you might include some Star Wars stuff. Or if you're going to make a his example is if you're going to make a western. Well, if you put a standoff scene in it, which is an archetype kind of westerns, then you're pulling from these specific movies, and those specific movies pulled from past specific movies. So when you recreate something, you're not really making anything new. That kind of, and so it's connected to the other works. That's where intertextuality comes in. And then archetypes, you kind of have a body of myth or origin stories, and so you have like a hero or something like that that is kind of baked into every story, no matter how you spin it. And the reason this happens is because the stories people tell are just them writing down their experiences kind of in a different order. Your imagination is only made up of what you've seen and known. And if what you've seen and known are other people's works, and other people's what they've seen and known are other people's works, there really has never been that original story. But kind of that stories are. He comes up with the idea like a musician who just kind of sits there and noodles on the guitar. Um, that stories they are in us and around us, and so we just kind of sit down and make them up. But from our past experiences, that's how they're synthesized. So in essence, there's only one story we really tell in a lot of different ways. And that's the interlude for How to Read Literature Like a Professor.